Welcome back to the Jocks of All Trades podcast. I am Brad, joined by Kyle. Hey, this is normally not what we do on Mondays, but we are going to bring you some really tasty info for your NFL team this week, specifically by covering the first round potential draft prospects. So before we get into that, I am going to go ahead and get into our new ads. We're going to start out with Fresh Cuts is our amazing sponsor who's been with us since 2020. Fresh Cuts is the local barbershop hangout in Marion, Indiana. If you are looking for a full-service barber with excellent cuts and a welcoming atmosphere, contact Caleb Kemper for an appointment time through www.freshcutsbarbershop.com. Mondays are the best days to get in, although he has plenty of time slots available. And if you happen to miss us live, you'll be hearing us in the shop while you get your fresh cut. Also from Caleb, slide on by to Fresh Cuts to pick up some stylish footwear with Caleb's Fresh Kicks collection. From Nikes to Jordans, he offers the best price for quality kicks. Stop on over to 1224 North Baldwin Ave in Marion to pick yours up today, or talk to Caleb about shipping. He ships all over the U.S. Message him for prices and sizes. Other people that we sponsor, check out their respective pages on Facebook. Steve has a couple other places where he is available that are listed here. And our friends at other podcasts, the Culture Corner podcast, 1,000 Wives of Weird, and Rules of the Frames. Check them out on their respective platforms listed below and let them know who sent you. I'm really excited because we're working a little early, Kyle, aren't we? Because the draft isn't till April 27th. And here we are on February 27th, 2 months earlier, talking about what your team needs.
Tell you what, though, this is the perfect time, and I'll tell you why. The combine starts Thursday, and it goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is the ultimate week. Other than, yes, draft is super fun. That's number one on the off-season list. Number two is free agency. That's crazy too. But this week right here, number three, it's amazing because not only do we get to see all the prospects that we've talked about running in shorts and a t-shirt, because most of them put on a show. It's fun to watch. But this is where we get all the GMs, all the scouts and coaches all in the same dome in Indianapolis and talk about their free agents, talk about trades and rumors galore. So this week right here, it's a good week to talk about prospects because, listen, we're getting ahead of the game a little bit, but a lot of other people have prospects out too. So why not put ours out? So
yeah, I like it. Speaking of prospects, let's go ahead and kick it off.
And you know what?
Well, what happened? We are experiencing some technical difficulties here. Kyle is frozen.
No.
Did that fix you?
Yeah, we're back.
Okay, all right. I sat there. I was like, Kyle's not talking.
I'm here. Yeah, I didn't see you either. All right. Yeah, so this is our top 50 prospects, and we'll have kind of our sleeper prospects as well. And we're going to go Brad talking about his guy, then mine, then Brad. So this will be a fun back and forth, and we'll try to get through them all. And you guys can listen in and agree with us, disagree with us, and find out some more information about your favorite prospects. So
yeah,
it'll be exciting.
Arguably QB1 in this draft, we have to start out with Bryce Young. He's got high football IQ, and he has premier clutch play ability. Um, I know a lot of people are worried about his size, and this is obvious, but I'm going to point to Kyler Murray, who went number 1 overall a couple of years ago, and he's surviving. Is some of his injury bug related to his size? Maybe. But he's been able to produce at a high level in the NFL, even being short. Of course, they have to get a step stool for him out there so he can get up there before he passes. But point being, I'd like to see Bryce add a little bit of bulk to his frame, but he comes in with a bunch of hardware. I can't remember who said it. I put it on here. Somebody said he has Patrick Mahomes level magic, and I kind of agree with that in terms of being able to make something out of nothing, being able to just extend a play and take over. Because let's be honest, this past season didn't have elite receivers, didn't have an elite offense outside of when Jahmyr Gibbs is your leading receiver. That's not good.
Yeah.
But he made do, and he put up decent stats. I think he deserves to go very early, but I'm not worried about his size.
Yeah, I'll add this really quick at the end of it is Kyler Murray succeeded kind of right off the bat, and now the stigma is like he's sort of on the downturn of his NFL career, and Kyler Murray is what he is, not because of his height, but because of his leadership and his work ethic.
Yeah.
If he had those two things, I think he'd be more successful. Bryce Young, maybe a little short, but he has all the intangibles on the field and off the field that you want. So, like, I'm not worried about size at all. I think it's stupid, honestly, those that have him off the board if he's 6 foot or under 6 foot. I think it's a stupid argument to make that he can't succeed. So,
I agree. All right, Kyle, you're up next with
it's Jalen Carter, right?
Yeah, hang on, I got it.
Okay, sorry. Jalen Carter. Yes, Jalen Carter, number 2 prospect here. 33 quarterback pressures this year, which is insane. Many believed he was the best player on Georgia's defense, not only this year, but like last year as well. Elite pass rusher, very good with his hands, freakishly athletic. I don't think he's going to test at the combine, but if he did, I think he'd put on a show. Very athletic, great mobility, great motor, great power, all of that. And he performed against the best of the best against offensive lines. If you look at him versus Cyrus O'Torrance, who's a guard we're going to talk about later, him and Cyrus both show that they belong on an NFL level. So, Carter whipped about pretty much anybody and everybody.
It's true.
Not many snaps in run defense, but I think he has the size, the tools to do all that. I think it was pretty clear from last year that he would have been a high pick this year. So I don't really have any reservations or complete negatives about him because I think he'll be a home run pick for whoever gets him.
It's funny that you say that because that's my same argument for Will Anderson is he had a down year. That whole defense had a down year, honestly, which I blame more on Pete Golding for having all that talent and not knowing how to use it than the guys that were on the field. But Will Anderson is an incredible sack machine, 17.5 and 21, high-level athlete, high-level character to match it. The only thing that really gets me here is it would be interesting to see if he can develop some more positional versatility because he is just a pass rusher, which that's okay. Sometimes you can be just that, and that's okay. Look at Aiden Hutchinson. But I think if he had a little more versatility, I think he's going to be a monster at the next level, a la like J.J. Watt, Von Miller. But I think he needs a little work. But for what he is right now, he is a top prospect and absolutely insane athlete.
For sure. I agree with all that. I think that if he can become an elite run defender as much as he is an elite pass rusher, I think that'll, make his career last a lot longer. And I think like a lot of these crazy athletic defensive linebackers, depends how the coordinator uses him. That's a big thing in the NFL draft. So hopefully they can use him right and show off his athleticism. So
Hopefully. All right, you got next.
Yeah, CJ Stroud, number 4 here, quarterback, Ohio State. I think he is kind of
Ooh.
close. Come on now. I think he is kind of close to Bryce Young, honestly. Definitely not the same player. Taller, for sure. I think he's the best pure passer in this draft. I don't think he has the athleticism that some of these quarterbacks have. However, if you look at what he did against Georgia, like he was able to move around a lot against a really good defense. I think the thing to think about is, okay, he put up all these gaudy numbers, incredible throws, accuracy, whatever, but he also had insane receivers like every year. So like that might be something that teams will have to look at and be like, oh, is he a product of his receivers or is it him? Or, you know what I mean? Like that is an argument that I think is out there. Do I think it's, going to be the overall factor of where he gets drafted? No. But overall, I think he has the best like pocket skills. I think he has the best accuracy in this draft. But I don't think he has the greatest arm. I don't think he has the greatest mobility. I think he ran a pretty simple offense at Ohio State as well. So yeah, I think he's good in the right system, but he will need a good offensive line in front of him to succeed, I think. And if he goes to the Texans or, God forbid, I don't know, the Raiders, like that might be a little iffy. So
my only pushback, I don't think his overall passing skills will be the big argument. I think the thing, and my biggest complaint with CJ Stroud, where's that dog in him? In every big game, he just, except for Georgia, every big game, he just didn't take over. He didn't look like he wanted to be there.
Yeah,
he
Michigan, he didn't take over.
That's my biggest concern.
Yeah, I think that is a concern for sure. Lost to Michigan, right, year after year. The last 2 years, right? So, I guess against the best competition in the Big Ten, they lost. So, I don't know what Ohio State fans would say to that. Maybe they would blame something else, but I think that is an argument that GMs and scouts probably have. So,
Tyree Wilson, size, length, production, positional versatility could absolutely lead to this guy hearing his name called very, very early. He could be an impact player immediately, but I think the biggest concern will remain about his speed to threaten the edge as a pass rusher. He's productive the stats, he's productive. I just don't know if he's going to survive in that like high, fast-paced game where you don't have time to fight through the interior offensive lineman. You have to get back there and put pressure on the quarterback. So outside of that, he could go above Will Anderson just because I think his athletic and body type is a little better than Will's, but I like Will better as a pass rusher. So it's going to be dependent on what they look for as a premier pass rusher.
Yeah, power and juice isn't something that he lacks, but you're right. The quickness, the speed, maybe that doesn't show as well on tape, and maybe during the combine we'll see what kind of true speed, true quickness he has. But I think he can be dominant at the next level.
Yeah.
And yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he got picked before Will Anderson. I've seen that a lot in mocks and in reporters talking about the draft. So it wouldn't surprise me in the least, but I still think Will is a little bit better of a pass rusher. So
agreed.
Yeah. Next is Peter Skoronski, tackle, maybe guard at the next level, Northwestern, 3-year starter. A lot of games that he's played. I think Northwestern knows how to produce linemen. You look at Rashawn Slater from a couple of years ago. He performed very well in his rookie year with the Chargers. And people might talk about his shorter arms, but I think guys like Matt Light in the NFL from the Patriots back in the day, I think he could survive a tackle because of his intelligence, because of his knowledge of the game, because of his athleticism. His hand usage, like he does everything so well. And I think the only negative that people are talking about is his shorter arms. But like, I don't think that'll matter if he knows how to play the position, he knows how to use his leverage, knows how to use his body. And if it is a shame that he can't stay at tackle, I think he could be an all-pro guard. So I think Skoronski.
I think he died again. I think he left us one more time. I need like the Jeopardy theme song here in the background. He'll be back in a sec. Yeah, I agree with Skoronski. He could absolutely be the next big thing. If I remember correctly, the same thing was said about Tyler Linderbaum having short arms, and Linderbaum still had a premier season. Maybe not all pro, but still really solid. So I'm not worried about the arms. I think NFL teams won't be either. Sure, they're going to talk about it, but I don't think it's going to determine where he goes at the end of the day. You missed. I said I feel like I need the Jeopardy theme song in the background, just for a minute.
I don't know why I get cut out all the time. Oh well,
it's all good. I know how to cover now. I will cover if you need to step out for a sec. Brian Branch.
I love him.
This man put out a whole bunch of, like, his stats don't look like it, but he is NFL team should be drooling over this guy. Like, he just knows where to be in the right place at the right time. He gets in the backfield. He makes huge plays. The only downside that I have for him is that he needs to work on his man coverage. He can get beat by speedier receivers in that regard. Really good route runners have thrown him off at times. But outside of that, insane. I don't really think he won't hear his name called in the first round.
Yeah. I think from what I've seen of him, I think he's a stud prospect. A lot of people see him as a nickel. I think he can survive and do well as a safety, but I think there might be some teams that pass on him if they have a true nickel corner already. It depends on how they view their ability to teach him to play him at probably strong safety. But I would still draft him if I had a need at safety and I had a true nickel corner, just because like you can't trust health in the NFL, and you also can't teach what he can do sometimes. So
yeah, I like it.
Bijan Robinson, dude, there's no. The only concern here are some injury concerns, but if you watch him against someone like Kansas or heck, I mean, pretty much any game, his cutting ability is something that I don't think I've ever seen before. How quickly he cuts, just jukes people out of their shoes. He goes one way and a millisecond goes completely the other way. Defenders have no idea how to keep track of him when he cuts that fast. He's really good in pass protection. He's really good at catching the ball too. Seen him make many highlight catches. He has the speed. He has the strength. He has really good size, 6 foot 220. It's just the NFL doesn't really value running backs as highly as other positions. But if we're going in terms of overall talent, this guy should be a top 5 draft pick, no question.
Yeah. Yep.
And also contact balance. Forgot to mention, he doesn't go down very easily. I think he's the complete package. And if I were an Eagles fan, I am an Eagles fan. If I were the Eagles the GM, I would look at him at number 10. I wouldn't be mad if they drafted him at number 10. I think there are bigger needs, but like this guy can change an NFL team day one, I think.
I'll be really short. He's a better Breece Hall. So if you like Breece Hall, this guy's a better Breece Hall. Miles Murphy. He's interesting. He's had a consistent rise in his production and development. And I think that's going to be enough to see him be an earlier pick. He plays in front and he dominates. Excellent character on and off the field. I think he needs to finish better, for sure. Oh, you have that on there. I'm sorry, I didn't even look at these when I was writing my own. Yeah, he needs to finish better for sure. He could be a major disruptor. I don't know. I don't know where I rank him among edges for this. He could either be really high or really later. Um, yeah, you absolutely could with a later pick. But yeah, I don't know. I like him, but I don't know if he's the guy. You
Yeah,
know, he
I
kind
think.
of reminds me of Cleveland Farrell a little bit, and
Mhm.
that makes me nervous.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. I think he does have more juice than Cleveland Farrell had. However, I think there are other guys in this draft behind him, like a Lucas Van Ness or like a BJ Ojolari, who have more freakishly athletic gifts than he does.
Spoilers.
Um, yeah, sorry. Like he's not. I'm not saying he's unathletic because he is, and he does have power, and he can get in the backfield. Um, but like I think some other guys maybe could bring more juice to your position. And he is the kind of guy like Jerry said with our later pick. Maybe I think he could be a guy that might fall a little bit because there are other defensive ends behind him that just have a little more maybe upside than he does. I think he has a very high floor. I think he has a very high floor. I just don't know about his ceiling, and that'll be something that we'll see on draft day because I think he could go anywhere from like 8 to probably 28. So,
Oh, that's a good question, Kyle.
oh yeah, maybe not ever, Jerry. Trust me, I know the Eagles will probably never draft Bijan in the first round. I understand that, but like a guy can dream because I think he is that special. They probably won't, like 99%, they probably won't, but
I mean, honestly, if the Ravens won't take a receiver, I'll take a running back. I'd be all right with that.
yeah, I mean, you need one. I think he could follow the Ravens. I think that'd be a great pick,
I hope so.
depending on what they do with, you know,
Lamar.
Lamar. Yeah.
We're gonna screw
Yeah,
that up, but
yeah, I'm sure. Devin Witherspoon. Listen, there are 3 corners in this draft that I think can go like in the top 10, and that's Devin Witherspoon, that's Joey Porter Jr., and Christian Gonzalez.
Gonzalez.
I
Yep.
think any one of those guys could probably sneak into the top 10. I think those are probably going to be the top 3 corners selected in this draft. Witherspoon, we'll talk about the other guys later, but Witherspoon, good in man coverage, also good in zone. He's nasty. He's long. He has the right size. He presses well. He's got that dog in him. He's a very violent and physical player. He's not afraid to shy away from contact. He's not afraid to tackle. He's not afraid to mix it up with receivers. Like I think he has the mentality to play corner for a long time. He is a little bit newish to football, 2017, as you see there. However, if you're that new to football and you're already this good, I think the ceiling is incredibly high for this guy, and I think he's going to rise up draft boards. And very well could be the first corner taken in this draft.
Yeah. Jerry had a question for you, Kyle.
Oh, cornerback or defensive line? I would say corner. I would say they could probably trade back a few spots and pick up one of the 3 corners. I think that would be probably the best move they could make.
Yeah.
I'm more in love with these corners than I am someone like Miles Murphy at number 10. Like I would rather take a corner because I think those guys have more upside than him. So
For sure.
yeah.
So I'm gonna make the case for Christian Gonzalez because I honestly like him just like slightly better than Devin Witherspoon. He's great. He's a lean corner with elite athletic traits and a refined technique. However, the only downside, bigger and stronger receivers could outmuscle him. So I'd be interested to see if he puts on some bulk before or after. I'm gonna hit you with something that you're probably really gonna hate, but he could be this year's version of Sauce Gardner. Not this year's Sauce Gardner, but this year's version of a Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, I think he could rise up for sure. And I think he is the guy mostly out of Witherspoon and Porter. Like, I think we know what kind of athletes Porter and Witherspoon are. They're very good athletes, but I think Christian Gonzalez, depending on he tests at the combine, like he's taller than those two, a little bit bigger, and also I think he could be faster than those two. So if he tests at the combine very well, I think he could shoot ahead of those two. It's just kind of depending on what kind of corner you like. Do you like Witherspoon, who can kind of do it all? Do you like Gonzalez, who's kind of like the athletic freak of the three, or do you want Joey Porter, who is amazing in press coverage and can knock down
He's
any
the
ball?
technique man. I was going to say
Yeah,
he's the technique guy out of the three.
technique and incredibly long arms that everybody loves
Yeah.
for the corner position. So it's just kind of depending on what your flavor of corner is. So it'll be interesting to see for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, Quentin Johnson, 6'4", 212. On Bruce Feldman's freak list, I believe he had him jump over like 40 inches in a vertical. And if he runs in like the 4.4s, I mean, a 6'4" guy jumping 40 inch, and being that fast, he has some freakishly athletic things about him. It's just like, can he separate with something that's not his speed? Because a lot of people are fast in the NFL. A lot of people are strong in the NFL. Receivers, if you look at most of the successful ones right off the bat, it's because they know how to get open. So that'll be the thing for him. Like, he has good hands, could be better hands. He's a big playmaker, but like, can he refine his route running ability to succeed at the next level? But ultimately, jump balls, I don't think they're 50-50 with him. I really think they could be like 70-30 with this guy, especially if he's that tall, that fast, and can jump out of the gym. So, yeah.
I like him. He'll be really interesting to see on Combine Day.
Yeah.
Brian Brisset, which I need to correct the spelling on the slide. Sorry. Thought I got everything. He's a defensive big man with a skill set and frame that just needs the right system. But he's naturally gifted athletically. He's nice. My concerns with him are lingering on his durability. But I mean, it's hard to tell with injuries before, because I'm going to take a shot here, and I'm sure Nick is listening. Dolphins fan, he's commented on a bunch of our stuff. But Tua had a lot of injury concerns coming out of college, because that's kind of a massive injury to take. And it's kind of hampered him a little bit in his career. But when he is healthy, he is dangerous. And I think I'd want to put Brisset in that same corner of, if he's healthy, he is dangerous. So will that hit him in terms of where he's drafted? Absolutely. But I don't want to give up on him. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his, just of what he's went through this past season, the past couple of seasons. I think all the talent in the world is there within him. It's just, can he put it all together? Can he stay on the field? And can he be in the right scheme at the next level? Because he is kind of 6'5", 300. You kind of look at that and you're like, oh, that's more of a 3-4 defensive end, probably stuffing some gaps. But I think he can be a penetrator too. So it'll be interesting to see who gets him and where he goes.
Yeah.
My boy, Joey Porter Jr., if you're looking at the stats on here on our streaming site, he doesn't have any interceptions, and his plays on the ball haven't been tremendous in terms of production. However, usually when the ball comes his way, he just knocks it down with his freakishly long arms. He is the longest corner in this class for sure. I'm sure Combine comes, wingspan will be talked about with him. Very good in press coverage. I think he can play zone, and I think he's very successful on man. That's kind of what he played this last year with Penn State. He's very sticky. He can get a little grabby at times. However, technique, length, height, weight, he's not afraid to mix it up. He's a good tackler. He's a solid tackler. But it'll be, again, interesting to see what team values him the highest. And I think that he could be the best corner in this draft for sure. And he has the NFL bloodlines. So that's something that I know NFL teams will look at as well. And this year, no one really threw at him. They were too afraid to, so they picked on someone else on Penn State. So he kind of got burned, I think, a couple times by Marvin Harrison Jr., but mainly everyone did. So
Can't
we'll
knock him for
see
it.
if they, yeah, we'll see if they look at that tape and
Sure.
just throw it out. So
Sure. Michael Mayer. He is a good blocking tight end with skills that will translate well to the NFL. He can be a threat in the passing game, but it's less about his athleticism and more about he's a mismatch target a la Travis Kelce, who just people just don't know how to defend him. Mayer has that, maybe not to the same degree as Kelce, but he has it. He needs to improve being more than just a possession player. He needs to be able to be that guy. So I think he has the tendency to get the mismatch, but then he needs to be that guy when he gets it. Like you just can't be possession without speed or anything else, because then you're just going to be. I'm trying to think of a really crappy tight end, and I can't because all the good ones are coming to my brain first. But my point being, you're going to be somebody that I can't think of. Like that's my point. So I think he'll get there. He needs to go to the right team.
yeah, I think he's very much like Cole Kmet, who came out. Cole Kmet does not blow by anybody. I think Cole Kmet will have a long career. I think Michael Mayer, if he stays healthy, Michael Mayer will have a long career as well. But you're right. I think he is a little on the slower side. I don't think he'll ever really get open with speed, but I think he does everything else extremely well. But we'll see what NFL teams value more. Will they value more of a pro-ready blocking tight end, or will they value a guy like Dalton Kincaid who just is an absolute freak in terms of getting open, running after catch? We'll see what they value more. I think the NFL is starting to gear towards more of the Dalton Kincaid type of tight ends, but maybe I'm wrong, and they'll go after Mayer first. So
Never know.
Anthony Richardson. I have a lot to say on this guy, but I'll try to keep it short. I think if you look at a highlight tape from like the Utah game, or if you look at his highlights on YouTube, you'll be like, my God, this guy is the best player in the draft. He should go number 1 overall because he has those freakish athletic abilities, amazing arm, physically dominant, looks like a running back or even a receiver out there when he runs the ball. However, you have to look at the negatives as well, and you have to look at the overall quarterback position. He does not do everything well. He's still very new to the quarterback position. I don't think he has the nuances or I'm not saying he's not smart, but I don't think he has the experience or intelligence of a long-term quarterback to go into the NFL right away and be in charge of an offense. Maybe NFL teams can cater to his ability. I think that's a definite possibility, but I don't think he's right off the bat for sure going to develop into this accurate passer with a good arm angle and with good feet. Like that's a hard thing to do. I'm athletically gifted for sure, freakishly freak, yes, but there's a lot of questions here, and he might not come through. So
My biggest concern with him has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with the executives that are losing their minds and overreacting. Here's a direct quote from an NFL executive, a la Jeremy Fowler. He's Cam Newton and Justin Fields combined. Yikes. Yikes. That is way up there when he's probably about here. So I'm concerned that he's going to go way sooner than he has any business going. Panthers, Raiders, looking at you. You guys are desperate enough. You'll do it. And then you're just going to have another Jamarcus Russell on your hands. That's kind of how I'm billing this guy is Jamarcus Russell 2.0.
Yeah, Fields and Newton both were much better passers coming out of college than Richardson was.
And more natural runners.
Right. I think Richardson, might have the biggest arm of them all, but that doesn't matter. We've seen it not matter in the NFL. You don't have to have an elite, I can throw the ball a million miles an hour kind of arm. You don't.
I hate
It's
it.
nice, but you don't to succeed. So other
Yeah.
things matter more. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. The guy I would take from Florida pretty early, Osiris Torrance. I love that you put Mammoth on here, so I decided to deck out this one pretty well. Look, he is excellent in the run game. Great balance and pass protection. The only thing I'll really say is, can he move into the top 10 if he performs well in Indy? Yeah. Yeah, he can, because he is huge. Like, I don't think people understand how big he is as a dude. Like, and I love that you put it. He's hard to move, and rightfully so. But I don't know if quickness will matter.
Yeah,
I don't know if it'll matter if you can't move him and he gets set.
right. And if he's
What do
that
you do?
wide, like it might, you physically can't get around him because he's so wide. Um, this guard class is kind of weak overall, and I think you make a good point. I think he could rise up because like him and Steve Avila are like the only ones that are like that stick out to me that could be like really good Pro Bowl kind of guards, all pro guards at the next level.
Yeah.
So I think Torrance could rise based on the people behind him not being very good.
Yeah.
So
And for those wondering, Steve Avila is out of TCU.
Yep.
But won't go in round one. We're not even going to talk about him.
No, I don't think so. Paris
God,
Johnson.
go early.
Yeah. Paris Johnson, tackle, Ohio State, played tackle and guard. Spent a whole season at guard, actually, but I think he's probably going to be tackle at the next level. I think he probably could have the fastest 40 time at the combine for offensive linemen. I think he's that athletically gifted. He needs more consistency. He's not as fundamentally sound, but if you show me that you have the ability to play multiple positions, you can get out and move in space, you're athletic, and you're willing to work and get better, I think this guy has the potential to be the best tackle in this draft. I think he could be better than Peter Skoronski if he can keep on developing.
Sure.
I think a team like the Jets could very well use him. I think a team like the Titans, who just got rid of Taylor Lewan, I think he could be a perfect left tackle at the next level. It's just depending on, if he can get better in his hand usage and his stance, and keep on improving. But frame, power, athleticism, it's all there to be a very excellent tackle at the next level.
Yeah. Nolan Smith. Plays for a really good defense. I'll say that for him. He's very physical. I agree. Good athlete. He is a little bit of a tweener. I don't really know where he's going to get stuck. I feel like he had a better year last year than this year. I don't know if it's because of the emergence of Jalen Carter being the main threat. I don't know if it's the emergence of their rushing not being the best part of their defense. Like, I'd almost say their linebackers and secondary was the best part of their defense this past year, which wasn't the same last year. It was way different last year. So I don't know really where to grade him. Because he's fast and you have it, but he's not refined as a pass rusher. Yeah. He's gonna have to put in some work if he wants to go in round one, because he is one of those few prospects that I could see slide completely out of the first round because there's just so many other interesting guys.
Yeah.
And what does he do that's just better than everyone else?
Yeah, I think when we say tweener, if you look at him, he's 6'3", 235. But I actually just saw a tweet per PFF, and you might not always agree with PFF, but they had him as the highest rated run defender in the SEC the last 2 seasons, which is weird for a little bit of an undersized guy. You know what I mean? And so he's very interesting. Like, can he put on the weight?
But if you had said that last year, I would have agreed with you. This year,
right. And he didn't play as much this year, as well. So that is something to look into. But like, can he put on the weight to like 250 and be the type of guy? Like, if he can, I think he'll be a solid player at the next level.
Agreed.
If he can't, he might be a little too small to put out there on running downs, right?
Yeah.
But then if he's not that good of a pass rusher, then like where do you put him? So it'll be interesting to see like if he can put on that weight, if he can show that he can hold up as both a pass rusher and a run defender for 3 downs. So
Yeah.
Cam Smith, another one of these really super long athletic corners. I think he's pretty good on the ball, 5 pass deflections this year. Very good instincts, very good coverage skills. I think he can jump routes pretty well. Ideal length, 6'1", almost 190. That's what teams are looking for. Played in a pretty good division, pretty good conference. Performed well against pretty good SEC receivers. I think he could probably get better at tackling. He kind of dives towards people. He doesn't really use his arms that much, and that kind of seems to me like you don't know how to tackle. And he can get grabby when he goes downfield too. So we'll have to see like what kind of long speed he has. I think that is a concern, and I think also his tackling can be shored up. But other than that, I think he's pretty good at route recognizing routes by the receiver. Pretty good at getting his hands on people and playing the ball. So I don't know if he'll go. He's solid, and I don't know if he's going to go first round. He might. I think he has the potential to, but probably maybe later first round.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and knock your socks off here. You can tell Kyle said it, and you're about to see that I agree with Kyle because he is the clear overall tight end number 1 in this draft. He's a monster with outstanding ball skills and hands. Literally, the only downside that I have for Dalton Kincaid is he has played football since 2017. Yikes. So I'm going to go ahead and guess there's a lot that he still needs to learn. But for what he does, he's very productive and was part of a really good Utah offense, kind of high-powered. And he proved that he's not just a 4th option in that kind of an offense. He's kind of the 1st or 2nd. Yeah. And I think that'll translate really, really well.
I think out of any tight end in this draft, I think he could be Travis Kelce because Travis Kelce is not really known for being the best. I mean, he's sufficient in blocking, as I think Kincaid will be at the next level. Sufficient, but maybe not like I can trust you on an island against defensive end kind of tight end.
Yeah.
However, getting open, running after the catch, I think he has the potential to be elite in those areas for sure.
I agree. He just needs that, like, I can get open wherever. That's what he needs.
Jordan Addison, receiver, 6'1", 175, out of USC. He's very interesting to me. I think I would put Quentin Johnson as my receiver number 1 in this class. However, a lot of people like Addison as number 1, and I think that's because he's a very, very excellent route runner. Good speed. I think he'll test well. I don't think he's freakishly athletic, but I think he'll test well. He's productive. However, from what I've seen, I don't think he uses his hands as well as he can. Like I think he's more of a basket catcher rather than hands catcher, and to me that is a little bit concerning when I've seen him. Some drops at times as well. So I think overall, I think he'll step on the field right away, show some good signs, like he can get open. He can do some things, run after the catch as well. But like, how can he hold up at the next level if he drops the ball a little bit too much, or he is kind of undersized as well. Can he jump out of the gym? Like Devonta Smith was a little bit undersized, but Devonta Smith can get up.
Yeah.
Now Devonta Smith has incredible hands. So like those two things are kind of what separates a guy like Devonta Smith. But route running is very excellent, and I think he'll be in the NFL for a while. So
my only concern is he went to a better offense from Pittsburgh to USC, and his production dropped massively.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a concern to me, where he was the first option in that offense and could not perform. So I understand the love for him to be wide receiver 1, but I also don't, because I would expect you to be one of the most productive receivers in the NCAA after switching with a Heisman winning quarterback, which means he has to throw the ball a lot. And you're the wide receiver one, and you had 875 yards. What happened?
Right. Good, but competition went up and production went down. So
that'll
yeah.
be a concern, I think,
Yep.
at the next level.
Yep.
Will Levis. Oh my God. If any of you follow me on Twitter, if any of you know anything about me at all, I hate Will Levis as a prospect because look below. His stats are average. He is average. He played for an average Kentucky team. If you truly are this big passer, where is it? Like, I don't see it. I do see that he is physically incredible. Physically, you can't teach that. You can't. You can't make somebody bigger just because you feel like it. Like, that part, I understand. Teams are going to be all over that. That makes sense. He's a good runner. But I'm going to harp on that second point. He does not make the best decisions, which, to be fair, if he's a Josh Allen comp, neither did Josh Allen in college. But Josh Allen got put in the right system, was given the right weapons, and he still hasn't been able to make it happen. I know that's not all on Josh Allen. I'm just saying, here's my concern if you're going to take Will Levis. Can he be that guy? Can he be that guy or not? I don't care if you can throw a pretty throw on a 10-yard slant or an out route. Congratulations. I love the zip that you have on that. Can you make it count when it's at the end of the game and you've got to throw a 50-yard bomb to your receiver and you've got to put it in the right spot? Can you do that? And I don't think he can. So I'm iffy on him. He could go top 10. He could go back half of the first round. His combine will absolutely determine where he goes.
Yeah, someone will fall in love with him for sure.
Stupid.
Happens every year.
Stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid, and sometimes it's stupid, sometimes it's great, but most often it's pretty stupid.
These are the same people that were really high on Johnny Manziel. So,
yeah, I mean,
I have an opinion that I don't
right.
like Levis.
I mean, even if you look at like some of the past quarterback drafts, like Mitch Trubisky went number 1. Jared Goff went number 1. Wentz went number 2. Wentz just got cut by his 4th team. Like you truly, just because of these physical qualities.
Wait, what? The Commanders cut Wentz?
Yeah, they just cut Wentz. Yeah, and that's kind of why he went number 2. Wentz did, and even though you can argue about his career, whatever. His physical quality, 6'5", 240, can run, great arm. Like, there's more to this game. There's more to being a quarterback than just those numbers. Like, it takes so many intangibles. It takes smarts. It takes accuracy. It takes making the right decision and reading the defense. And that's something that I don't think he did the best at Kentucky. I don't think he had the best quality of teammates. But you're right. If he was this elite prospect,
neither did Malik Willis, and we were still talking about Malik Willis being a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be mean. I don't like that argument. Like, you should be able to make do with what you have if you're elite.
Yeah, I think if he was elite, he'd probably, improve his team a little bit more than what he did. So, we'll see.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, sorry, that was going to be my biggest complaint. Like, yeah, Anthony Richardson, we know, but Levis, there's been so much hype for Levis, and I'm like, why? You have Bryce Young. You want a quarterback, trade everything and go get Young. Don't go for Levis. Stupid.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, very interesting prospect. 6'1", 198 out of Ohio State. Didn't play much at all this year. Played one game for injury concerns. Last year, incredible what he did in the bowl game. Great route runner, great speed, great hands. Definitely a little bit like Chris Olave, I think. Concerns are injury concerns. Concerns are he didn't play that much. And concerns are, is he just a slot kind of guy? Slot receivers can be definitely productive in the NFL, and they can be some of the best receivers in the NFL. And Jackson Smith-Njigba could be one of those guys, but we haven't seen that much of him. Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson both labeled him the best receiver out of that group, and we know how Chris Olave did. We know how Garrett Wilson did. I think for Jackson Smith-Njigba, I think the reason he'll go higher is not because he's necessarily the greatest receiver prospect, even though I think he is a good prospect. I think it'll be because look at these Ohio State receivers and how well they did last year, and I think Jackson Smith-Njigba could do the same for us. And I think that's where some teams will go with their line of thinking. But I've seen way more out of Quentin Johnson and Jordan Addison and actually some other receivers in this draft. But the potential is there, I think. But it'll be depending on what team falls in love with him. So
for sure. Broderick Jones, great athleticism, good finisher. My only argument for him is he has limited experience. He only has 19 starts at the college level. I mean, his physicals are there. The athleticism is there, but can he do it at the next level? I guess you've got some very limited tape to look at for him. But teams are tackle needy. Teams are always needy for the offensive line, and I think he'll go far. But I don't hate him. I don't hate him at all. I just think he needs some work.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Antonio Johnson, safety, Texas A&M, 6'3", 195. From what I've seen, he is a very, very good hitter, very electric. He kills people. I think he can make plays on the ball. I think he does have some speed, but it's not the greatest speed, and it's not the greatest instincts that what I've seen from him. Very physical. I just don't know. The more that I watch him, I don't know if he can survive in the NFL if the biggest part of his game is trucking people. Those kind of guys tend to fall to the wayside a little bit because there's more to being a safety than just trucking people. You look at Jonathan Abrams from a few years ago, who's like already nothing in the NFL. He's, that's what he was known for. So that is something to watch. Maybe other teams differ on how well he can cover. But in my opinion, I think all the physical intangibles, all that stuff's there. But can he get better at everything that's not trucking people?
Yeah. Trenton Simpson, very quick linebacker. He can go side to side with ease. Only downside, he needs to show elite skills in his pass coverage at the combine to be considered a fringe day one prospect. He could very easily fall out of the first round. Linebackers are not as highly touted on defenses. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Trent Simpson.
Lucas Van Ness didn't even start for Iowa at all. But when he did, he produced a lot. 7 sacks this year. He has a high ceiling. He just runs through people. I don't think he always has a pass rush plan, but with his physical gifts, he just gets through people very, very well. He has length. He has power. He has athleticism. He has all the things that you want in a defensive end and an edge. High ceiling. I think he has a high floor too. I think he'll be sneaky a little bit. I think he could rise up to a top 15 pick in this draft.
Yeah. Isaiah Foskey, solid guy, really solid guy, very explosive. He just couldn't really dominate, and he is a little underwhelming. I think he'll fall to day 2. Truthfully, the only way that he could rise is if he shows improvement in some positional drills at the combine. Because, I mean, he's got everything else. He's just not refined. So I think if he works on a couple things, he'll be in there. He'll be in the first round.
Mozzie Smith, number 1 on Bruce Feldman's freak list. If you don't know what that is, listeners, go ahead and look it out because some of these guys are the freakiest of freaks. 6'3", 320, 330 at some point this year, actually. Not that much of production in sacks. Actually, according to some sources, it said he only had half a sack in his name. So that's interesting that he can't get to the quarterback and bring him down. a lot of the times. He gets in the backfield very quick, and the quarterback just jukes him out. So, but he's violent, he's quick, he has all the athletic traits in the world. I think he can be a very good run defender as well. I'm very high on this guy. Production is an issue, but I think if you can get in the backfield regularly, you definitely have a spot in the NFL.
Yeah. Keely Ringo, really good overall. Absolutely demolished people in the SEC. Very, very much of a big play guy. Sorry, my phone. However, I worry about his technique a little bit. And again, positional drills will absolutely determine where he goes.
Yep. Clyde Chicansey, very undersized, 6', 278. It's not really the ideal length or height or weight for a D tackle, but he's a very good penetrator. 7 sacks on the year is very good. He's a slasher. Good hand placement. I think he knows how to play the position very well. I think he's a little bit, sneaky, slimy. He can get through defender or offensive linemen pretty well. He knows how to get up under them and move. My question is, can he stay in the thick of the trenches? Meaning, can he hold up with his weight? Can he hold up if they're going to run right at him? If they're going to bring another guard or tackle in motion or on a sweep or on a toss, something like that? Like, can he get through these bigger offensive linemen? So that'll be something interesting to see at the next level.
Anton Harrison, he is a big boy for a tackle. I think he could go sooner, but I agree with you. Technique and hand placement are going to be critical because you don't want penalties in your game, and that's going to hurt you quite often if he's having to grab somebody to stop him. But again, another guy that could be round 2, could make it into round 1. Just depends on his combine. I feel like I'm going to say that a lot.
Felix Ndugi-Uzama, a lot of production at Kansas State. 6'3", 252. I think he has very good size for a 4'3" defensive end. I think he's sneaky athletic. I think he's powerful. Skills need to be refined a little bit. I don't think he has elite athletic traits, but he has, I think, good enough to be a very productive defensive end at the next level. Yeah.
Probably my favorite prospect in this draft, just because he is from a service academy, which never happens. He's a long-rangey pass rusher with incredible physical and athletic attributes. In 2021, he had 15.5 sacks. But his injury and extra blocking attention kind of slowed his senior season down. But I think he could be on the rise. I think Indy is where he's going to really show people that I am 6'7" and a monster, and I can do it. So, I don't know. I like him. Oh, Kyle froze again. We're going to get him back. He's back. There we go. We're on Zay Flowers.
Okay, gotcha. Zay Flowers, probably one of the fastest players in this draft. Electric, very good at tracking the ball. A little bit, he's not the greatest hand catcher in the world. That is, again, a concern of mine. Very much uses kind of both arms and catches it in a bucket. However, incredible run after the catch ability, very good quickness, elusiveness. Can he hold up on the outside? I'm not sure. But I think in this day and age in the NFL, I think these smaller guys can succeed. I think they can win at the next level. So if you're looking for a speed demon threat who can stretch the field, who can make plays in space, I think this is your guy.
Probably my second favorite interesting prospect of where will he go. This guy has to be Terrence Cody Jr. He's got the size. He's got the build. The athleticism, I think, is what he has that Terrence Cody didn't have. Terrence Cody was just a big guy. If you don't know who he is, look up 2009 Tennessee versus Alabama, where he had 2 blocked field goals in one game. He needs to cut weight to be better, but I think he probably has enough versatility to be an early draft pick. if he absolutely demolishes um, his interviews and combine, because you don't get big guys like that all the time that are that athletic. So
Next, Clark Phillips. He didn't play in the bowl game. I wish I would have seen him against Penn State. I was looking forward to it. A lot of production on the ball. 6 interceptions this year. 6 pass deflections. Not as tall as some of the Cam Smiths and Joey Porters of the world, but I think he's instinctive. I think he's tough. He's not the most consistent in tackling, but I think he's very competitive. I think he gets after it. I think he's quick. I think he's good at reactionary plays on the ball. I think he could hold up on the outside. Maybe some teams view him as a nickel, but I think undersized guys can still make it in the NFL. But that's probably why he'll drop a little bit, is because I don't think he has like elite size, height, or athletic traits. But I think he can be a very good corner at the next level.
agreed. Probably RB2 in this draft. He is incredibly explosive. He actually got up to 22 miles per hour in a run this year against, let's see if I remember. It wasn't Arkansas. I got to remember. I'll figure it out. But he is incredible receiver. He actually was I think by the time the season ended, he was our second leading receiver overall. I think the only downside is he's just small. He's just small. Needs to work on a couple things, but I think you can't teach explosiveness, and I think that's really going to drive some teams to look at him early, but I think it'll be early round 2, round 3. There are a couple running backs that could leapfrog him, but I think he's very, very gifted.
Deontay Banks, I didn't recognize much of him when he played Penn State. I didn't really know much about him till maybe a couple months ago. Elite size and height that NFL GMs, NFL coaches want. He's very physical. He's more of a press corner. Lack of production in terms of interception. I think he's had his hands on a lot of footballs, but he hasn't really converted. So that'll be something he has to work on. I'm not so sure about top end speed. It kind of seems to me like if he cannot get his hands on you early, he might struggle down the field. So that'll be something that he'll have to work on.
Mm-hmm. Drew Sanders, I loved him. Sad he transferred, but I don't think he was going to get the opportunities he wanted at Alabama, and that's okay because he absolutely destroyed it at Arkansas. My cat just pushed the door open. I was wondering what in the world was just happening. He's incredibly big for a linebacker. I like it. He's a high ceiling player for sure. I think he needs the right fit to be at his best potential. But again, linebackers won't go high. He should go high, but I love for any team to end up with Drew Sanders. He'll probably end up with the Cowboys because Micah Parsons needs help. But I like him a lot, and I think he could rise a lot once people look at his tape.
Luke Musgrave, I think a lot of teams in the NFL look at traits for a tight end. And I think this is obviously key because look at his 2022 stats. He's only had 13 starts in his career. Very limited stats, very limited production. But teams love his athletic traits, his speed, his height, his weight, ability to get open. And I think once he puts on a show at the combine, because I'm pretty sure he will, he'll be talked about as a day 2 pick. And that goes to show you that you might not have to be the most successful in terms of touchdowns, receptions, yards. Look at George Kittle when he got drafted. He barely caught the ball at Iowa, and he's one of the best tight ends in the game. So, like, teams look at traits. They look at these physical tools, and I think he's going to, probably be a day 2 pick.
I like it. Tank Dell, also known as Nathaniel Dell, 17 touchdowns. That's a monster number to be coming from a small school like Houston. I am concerned because he's tiny. It kind of reminds me of Devontae Smith a little bit, kind of a do-it-all kind of receiver. I just don't know if playing at Houston is going to translate to I can take over at the next level. But I mean, you can't take away his stats. Stats don't lie. He's pretty productive. I'm interested to see where he gets ranked among other receivers on his 40 time. I think that will determine what happens with him.
Will McDonald played a lot of games in college, 50 games, pretty good size, 6'4", 245. Maybe needs to get a little bit bigger, but I think he has a lot of qualities that people look at for a defensive end. I think he's good at rushing the passer. I think he's pretty good as a run defender. I don't think he is like better than one thing or the other, but I think he's very, very good at both. I think he can survive in the NFL. Like what you said with Tank Dell, Will McDonald will play at Iowa State, so the competition maybe not the best, but I can tell you that when he was a freshman, a true freshman, he was kind of a low star recruit, I'm pretty sure. But as a true freshman, he was their best pass rusher day one, so they could not redshirt him. So like he's played a long time, as you can see, 50 games, like I just said. But so I think that's going to help him at the next level, just being experienced, just knowing a bevy of pass rush moves potentially and counters to tackles and guards movements. I think that's a pretty important thing at the next level.
Yeah. BJ Ojolari, 6'3", 244, very athletic. He just had kind of a down 2022 versus his 2021. Had he gone in 2021, his his draft stock would have been a lot better. But he's good, but he's not great. He needs to work on a lot of things, such as setting the edge. He's kind of only a one-dimensional kind of player. But I don't think that's horrible. I think you can still use that in the right system, but he needs some work. But overall, he's a pretty good prospect.
Josh Downs played for North Carolina, receiver, 5'10", 171. Incredible rack ability, very dynamic and explosive down the field. I think he'll be at different positions on GM's boards. I think his height, his weight, his drops, I think that is something that is concerning for some teams, and for some teams, it's not. But like I said, not the ideal height or weight, but he can make plays down the field, and he does it pretty regularly. One of the best receivers in college football this year. Obviously played with a great quarterback, Drake May, who's going to probably be a high pick next year. But I think he'll probably be a day 2 pick.
Agreed. Tanner McKee, I'm so glad I snuck this in here and you didn't see it. He's got a great height. He's got a great neck. I think Davis Mills is better, but it's a pretty good size. That'll be important at the next level. He's got the size and the build and the arm talent, but the things that I hate are his inconsistent accuracy, his ball placement, and he's got pretty slow footwork, which is not going to translate well in a boom, they're back in the backfield, you got to do something, and you're in the middle of your drop back.
Yeah.
So outside of that, look, he needs to be in the right place, like a lot of these guys. And if it's the Texans because they whiff on a quarterback, I'm going to laugh. Anyways.
Luke Weibler, probably one of the best centers in the game this year. Him and Joe Tippmann from Wisconsin, that's another name to look out for. And John Michael Schmitz from Minnesota. But this guy had a really good year, 6'3", 300, pretty good size for a center. I believe according to PFF, he only allowed 1 sack this year, very productive, great in pass protection. I don't think he has any elite kind of athletic traits. I think he moves well, but I don't think he has like this Jason Kelce type of center traits or the Travis Fredericks power of the world, when he was there with the Cowboys. But I think he's an overall very good center. I just don't know if he can develop into an elite center.
Understandable. But because of where the position is,
right,
he's going to go high, which is my same argument for Andrew Voorhees out of USC. He's great in pass protection. He's got a great build. His mechanics are going to be the biggest thing to gripe with about him. Which I think the line that he played with was pretty iffy anyways. I think Caleb Williams had to make a lot happen with his legs out of the pocket. So I think it's just more so he didn't have good coaching in college. I think if he gets that at the next level, he could be a lot better. But again, he'll rise because there's not a whole lot of premier guards in this. The tackles are much deeper than the guards in this draft class. But overall, he should probably go round 1, maybe early day 2. It just depends on team needs.
And side note, he had like 40 reps on the bench. So I think look out for him at the combine. I think he'll be probably one of the strongest humans there. So
probably
very, very strong dude.
It's always the random white guys. Anyways, thanks for hanging with us. We are not going to do our under the radars. We have to skedaddle. We will do that. It'll probably be a short little 20-minute episode that we'll put out later as a little snack before one of our big episodes. But again, thanks for being with us. Like, subscribe, share. Let us know what your thoughts are on some of these prospects. Did we get it wrong? Do you agree with us? And we will see you guys next week. No show this Wednesday. See ya.
Bye.